Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tea with TPS, an informal chat with thought leaders in India and abroad. Today, our distinguished guest is Sri Rishiraj Singh, the outgoing Director General of Police. He has just retired, is retiring today, must be a most difficult day for him. He has an excellent record as a courageous, skillful, and dedicated police officer who has handled complex issues with exceptional ability in the last 36 years. But it is not just his work that has made him exceptional. It is his personality and love for Kerala and Malayalam, which make him stand apart from other officers. He has captured the hearts and minds of Malayalis who have tough standards about the ideal civil servant. Rishi, we both are Malayalis. I'm a born Malayali, you are a Malayali by choice, which is very distinguished because I had no choice except to be a Malayali. But you had many choices and chose to be Malayali yourself. But why did I use the word a Mallu of his choice? Because this word is not derogatory, but Malayalis don't like to be called Mallus, I think. But outside Kerala, there is a lot of confusion to refer to Malayalis. Because Bengali is the language, so many people think Malayali is a language. It is called Keralam in Kerala, but in English it is Kerala, and when it comes to Hindi, it is Kerala. So there is so much confusion, and therefore the most practical, even though colloquial expression is a Mallu. That's why I call you a Mallu by choice. So my first question is, when you first heard that you are being appointed to the Kerala cadre, what was your immediate reaction?
As now a lot of newspaper write-ups have come up in which these questions answer can be seen over there. Police service was something which I wanted to join. That was my priority because I was enamored by the uniform of my father, my mother's father, mother's father's brother. A lot of people are there in Rajasthan police from my family. So, in a way, when they told, I could make out when the result came that I am not going to get IAS service, I am getting IPS service because that was one of the biggest batches of the recent times. 160 IAS, nearly 120 IPS. So I was ranking as 182nd. So 182nd, I made my own calculations that I should be ending at 160 and from 161 I should start. So I am at number 21. And exactly I was at number 21. So, but I also knew that I won't be getting my home state because 2-3 other people whom I knew earlier, their names were also there above me. So, but since I was going to get the police service, so I was happy anyway, sir. So, that once you are getting a police service, so then at that time it was immaterial. It was immaterial for me, and that was also clear that I am not going to go to Rajasthan. So, any state which I would have got, I would have been happy, sir. I mean, my satisfaction was to the fore. I say, if it is Kerala, so let us go and see it. I had not seen Kerala earlier.
Yes. So you did not even know how far it was from Chennai, right? From Madras.
That also,
you took a train to Chennai and then realize that was another day's journey.
You may be knowing, so the others, the audience may not know. It happened, sir. In Bikaner, Bikaner is a sleepy town, sir. It's only the last district of India. So I told one of my relatives that I want to go to Trivandrum. Please get me a ticket. It was my mistake. I should have bought the ticket in Delhi or so. So he brought a ticket. A ticket was from Delhi to Madras GT Express. I remember. And I casually, I didn't even see. Then at the last moment, I saw Delhi Madras. Then I asked him, कि भाई ये तो this is the Delhi Madras. Yes, sir. सब आसपास ही है. They are all very nearby place. Don't worry about it. Probably he also didn't know that there is a difference. There is a distance of 1,000 kilometers over there.
Another 24 hours journey. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I asked you this question because we had a funny incident in my batch
Yes.
long ago in 1967. There was a gentleman in Bihar who got into the IAS and he came to the academy. And those days, he was a little bit of a stupid man. He went around saying that he was getting 12 lakhs as dowry now that he had joined the IAS. He used to go about saying this to everybody. Then one day the allotments came, the state allotments came, and that day this gentleman was very sad. He came and told us they have reduced my dowry by 4 lakhs because I am being allotted to Tamil Nadu. So I was thinking about that, the mindset of people, of course, people in the south about the north and people in the north about the south. Every North Indian thinks that everybody is a Madrasi. All kinds of complications are there. That's why I asked you, when you heard about a state which you did not know much about, of course, you are neutral. You are not against it. And that was probably the credit about you.
No, sir. We, in the subjects which were taught in the schools and colleges, I invariably remember there used to be chapters on the natural beauty of Kerala, sir. And
Right.
we distinctly remembered these boats which on the 12th of August on this Nehru boat race, those snake boats.
Yes.
Snake boats, we used to have chapters in Kerala and this Kathakali, the great resplendent part of Kerala culture was always vividly
Your mind.
shown in Rajasthan schools and colleges textbooks.
And how about the fact that Kerala was the first state to elect a communist government? Did you hear about that?
Yes, sir. We knew about that, sir. I am a student of political science and history. So these things I used to know from 9th standard onwards. In Rajasthan, education, the percentage of literate people may be less, but the quality of education is very high, sir.
Right.
A simple fact, you take that from 9th standard onward, 3 subjects are, we are supposed to take 3 optional papers. So this history, political science, and earlier Hindi literature I took, and in BA again political science, history, and English literature I took, sir. So a lot of things are taught there, sir. I mean,
so that means history-wise, you had enough bookish knowledge. You didn't have direct experience. But when you arrived here, what was your first impression?
First impression was very interesting, sir. I told railway police, please send me to the police training college. So they hired a taxi and sent me over to the police training college. Believe me, sir, I picked up a quarrel with the driver by seeing this PTC building. I thought he has brought me to the house of the principal. This is such a small building. National Police Academy, in UP Academy, and there are huge gates and massive walls, and that picture was there in my mind. I said, look, you have brought to me his house. I don't want to go to his residence. I want to go to PTC. He said, this is PTC. So when we were arguing, then the policeman came and he said, no, sir, this is the police training college.
But now, of course, in Thrissur, we have a much better police training college, right?
Yes.
We were even planning to build a university, police university the other day. Yeah. So things are changing remarkably.
Yes, sir.
But your first day in police in Kerala, tell us about that.
First day police in now, since I am retiring, we have every liberty to tell you the truth, sir. One Mr. Matthew Thomas Matthew Thomas was a principal over there, sir. So he said, "Bhai, you are three, but you are alone." At that time, somehow only I reported. Jacob Thomas and Behra came later. They were attempting their second. They were attempting for the second time. I didn't take, since I told you, sir, I was in police.
But
So
happy with the police. Yeah.
I joined Mussoorie, and from Mussoorie I came over here, sir. So then so he said, "Hey, bhai, there cannot be any class for a single person. So you go, and there won't be any classes for you." And he directed some person, "Please take him around to the first to Trivandrum city and then all over Kerala." I practically never attended any class in PTC, sir.
Then you are immediately appointed as ASP.
No, sir, that is they allot a district. So I was allotted Trivandrum rural. Mr. Kudi Moidin Kuti was my first SP. Then we have 15 days attachment of a rural police station, that was Kadakutam was given to me. In Kadakutam, I was there for 15 days. In between, Rajiv Gandhi sir's two visits came because Kerala was going to have elections in March 1987. And then I was given as a SHO, as a sub-inspector. We are supposed to sit for 3 months. So I was given articles for 3 months. So,
But all this time, you did not know any Malayalam.
I didn't know any Malayalam, sir. So when all these things were happening, so then one day I went to just call on Mr. Sukumaran Nair, sir.
Yes, I know him. Yeah.
So he was in some, he was not in a good mood, sir. That was my bad luck, but it turned out to be my best luck also. Yeah, so who are you? So I said, "Sir, I am so and so." I am okay. Yeah, how is your Malayalam? To be very honest, I was not caring much for learning Malayalam, sir. I didn't.
But in the academy where you taught Malayalam,
No,
in
sir.
Mussoorie they do teach. Mussoorie they do teach Malayalam.
They didn't teach. Neither Mussoorie, the cadres had not come, and in the academy there was, in those days, there was no tutor. My own Ustad, Maman Ustad, one another Malayali officer, he used to come and teach, and practically I never attended a class over there. I mean, they were also, a Ustad will not able to tell us the way a teacher teaches. So it never happened over there, sir. So he say, "Aja, have you learned Malayalam?" I say, "Yes, I'm trying." I lied that yes, I am trying. Actually, I was not. So I still remember the Matrabhumi paper was lying over there. This Matrabhumi, he say, "What is it?" I couldn't even read that, sir. And he fired me. He fired me in a sense that if you don't learn Malayalam, then the ministers and the chief ministers will come to know, the public will complain, and you will not be given good postings. So for the heck of it, please learn Malayalam. So then he said, "Manislayo." I remember. So I repeated, "Manislayo, sir." He said, no, you are supposed to learn Manislayo. Then I picked up, then I realized the gravity of the situation, and I kept a proper teacher, sir, one Ashari. In fact, people know here, I was by that, he was from Nanamangad. And then I learned from AI, everything. I'm not boasting myself, sir, but I am the only officer till date who disposed my files in Malayalam, sir, still.
No, now I know, yes, but at that time, no. That time you were not yet literate in Malayalam.
Actually, he persuaded me to learn this, and I picked up that day. I was also, so I say, "Sir, that was in that was in English." I told that if at all in future, if I will speak to you, I will speak to you in Malayalam only in my rest of my life. Till date, I follow that, sir. He now says, "Now you can speak in English." I said, "No, sir, I will."
But what was the difference? How did the language strike you? Because it is a difficult language for outsiders, I think. Even for those who know Hindi, because if you don't know Sanskrit, it may be a bit difficult to follow Malayalam. Did you find it very distinct from the other Indian languages?
Sir, actually, in a way, again, I am not exaggerating. I am a polyglot, sir. I mean, I love learning language. I can learn any language in 3 months, sir. Before that, I had learned Hindi, English, we knew anyway. I learned Punjabi also. Then I learned, when I went to CBA, I learned Marathi also. So this language was, to be very, to tell you the truth, I didn't find it much difficult, sir. If you learn from a chapter a day, Chapter a day means today and this. So you then the learning is very easy if you go by that method, sir.
Right.
So and then Mr. Rajivan, the late DGP, Mr. V.R. Rajivan, who was my commissioner, he said, Rishi, I'm told, sir, in 1982, the Malayalam language was drastically, it was
Modernized, yes. The font was changed. There are even now we write the old one, but the printed font is different.
when I used to write all my PR minutes, so I was with the DCP. So I will say ഞാൻ സൂക്ഷ്മമായിട്ട് എല്ലാ കാര്യങ്ങളൊക്കെ വായിക്കുകയും പരിശോധിക്കുകയും ചെയ്തു അതിനാൽ ഈ ആളിന്റെ അടുത്ത 3 വർഷത്തിന്റെ വാർഷിക വർധനം ഞാൻ തടഞ്ഞു വെച്ചിരിക്കുന്നു. I used to write, so he used to read it. Then he called me, Rishi, this is unbelievable. Yeah, I cannot write because, as the same you said, that since you have come just after 3 years of the new this modern Malayalam, so you have picked up so well. But if I want to write, as you said, that it will be difficult for me to write because
we'll write the old font even now. Even now, I write that, and when they print, they change it themselves. That's what happens. So that's another problem. But it's a real success story. Many of the civil servants who come from outside Kerala do learn the language. And probably you are the one who has done it best, not because of the language itself, but I think because of your basic affection for the language and the state.
Yes,
that
sir.
is my reading of the situation.
Yes, sir. Sir. Mr. Karunakaran, I will just take 1 minute. Mr. Karunakaran, one full batch of IAS officers reported to him, sir.
Right.
And he said that then they might have been speaking. Then he says that, how is your Malayalam? And obviously they had just come. Well, then he called his PS and said, please send these 4 officers to Railway SP's office. There one boy is sitting. Let them go and learn that how even the people coming from outside can learn the Malayalam better. Those 4 people came. This is the Chief Minister has sent them to let they know that how good Malayalam you are speaking. 4 IAS officers being sent to my officers just to make them realize that if we want, we can learn better Malayalam. By a Chief Minister, sir.
Right. Anyway, it's a matter of talent on the one side, like Prime Minister Narasimha Rao, who spoke 17 languages. and people said he can remain silent in 17 languages. Because he's always silent. Yeah. Anyway, good. But let us go now more into the characteristics of Kerala. There are lots of contradictions, even for me, because I've been away from Kerala for 40 years. There are many contradictions about Kerala. For example, we are supposed to be the most literate state in India. But if you talk to even a school graduate and ask him to write Malayalam or English properly, he will not be able to do it. Because literacy simply means that you can write your name in Malayalam. That's all that the categorization is. And therefore, people get 99% in school marks. But if you take that boy and ask him to write his name or write a sentence, it'll be difficult for him to do. Then similarly, we are very cosmopolitan. When we go abroad, Malayalis are very adaptable. But we are very, very clanistic. We are somewhat tribal in our approach to things. So were you impressed, were you surprised by these kind of contradictions? Of course, even about India, they say whatever you say about India, the opposite can also be true. So this is very similar to Kerala. Did that strike you initially as a community which has many contradictions?
So, I have a little bit different view on this, sir. You can say that I came from a state which was literally maybe from one among the top bottom literate states. That is Rajasthan. The others could be like Bihar, Jharkhand. Of that time, I'm talking about in 1985 or so. But when I came and saw the things here, sir, so there are 2 things here, sir. There was a time around 15 years ago, they used to say that the 25% of IAS and IPS officers were from practically three universities of India, sir. That was like from rather three states of India, sir. That was Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, and probably Punjab, Haryana, sir. 25%.
Uh-huh.
That shows the quality of the education, no doubt about it. As I earlier I said that the education level, the literacy level will be very, very less, whether it is UP or even Uttar Pradesh, Haryana, Jharkhand, Bihar, or whatever. But whatever education remains over there, that is of very top class quality, sir. There is no doubt of that, sir.
Mm-hmm.
But is it worth? But is that factor which a state should adopt, or a factor which a state like Kerala adopted? What is the difference, sir? The resources can be the Kerala government decided to spend their resources on making each and everyone literate. That was also a very smart move, sir, if you ask me. I wish that Rajasthan should not have bothered about the qualitative nature of their education. Rather, they should have gone. They should have taken the same step as like Kerala and make these people literate in the all the villages, towns, and cities. Even today, sir, if you go, I was in my village, sir, just 15 days ago or so. See, the things have not much changed, sir. Even today in Rajasthan, they say if 1,000 girl children, if the 1,000 girls take admission in the first class, only one only one reaches to college. I mean, the situation is like. Should we support that kind of arrangement, or should we support where if 100 people are taking admission in first class in Kerala on record, 96 reaches to 10th standard, sir, and 68 reaches to college standard, sir. So my take is very simple. What Kerala did, that they made everyone literate. That one step will knock the bottom out of all the social problems in this country, sir. Let everyone be literate first, sir. Quality will come later. So I don't see any contradiction, sir. I mean, what government decided, they succeeded in their moves, sir. They made them literate, and now people are taking. If you make them movement, like if anybody has done SSLC plus two or any BA or whatever it is, their quality may be as you say, the qualitative part may not be there. But now they are on their own, find out their ways, or whether in the state or outside in other parts of India, or they will go outside the country, and so that's a better strategy, sir, if you ask me, sir.
But we are very adaptable that way. When you go abroad, Malayalis are able to adjust themselves to the situation there. But when you come back, they go back to their original mindset. That openness and understanding of the world and all that. Yes. It seems to disappear when you come back. so
that is what, when as a transport commissioner, when we were trying to implement the helmet wearing and seat belt wearing. So I used to go to schools and colleges that look, nearly 40 to 50 lakh people are there only in the Gulf countries. And there, if there is a red light or so, nobody crosses the road.
Absolutely.
He crosses the line. So why that kind of discipline you cannot have over here? This same argument I used to take over here. And I say, we didn't bother about, we are slightly casual in our approach in all the respect, not only the road implementation laws also. That you are right, sir. But that is a fact in everywhere, sir. I mean, I will give you an example. Now, today in Kerala, the official figures are there are 50 lakhs migrants are there in Kerala, 3 lakhs migrants coming every year.
Right.
There is no, literally there is no counting and as such, but this is what Times of India says. But let me tell you, sir, I was there, and the same problem is there in Bombay also, in Jaipur also, in Hyderabad also. A person belonging to that particular place doesn't work there, sir. The same problem in Bombay also. Shankar Narayanan sir, when he was governor in Maharashtra, I used to go and meet, I used to go and call on him. So he said, Rishiraj Singh, do you know how many Malayalis are here in Bombay? I said, sir, I don't know. For your kind information, there are 21 lakhs Malayalis are here.
I see.
That is the governor telling me in 2011 or so, sir. So in Bombay, the Marathis, the Maharashtrians, they don't work, sir. It is, I don't know, it's a matter of some, I wish that someone should do some study that a person who is born and brought up in a particular place will not like to work there, sir. This is an India-wide phenomenon, sir.
Is
In
it?
Jaipur, in Jaipur, people don't come from nearby villages and work. No. A person from Bihar, a person from UP, a person from Maharashtra, you will see them doing the ordinary jobs, odd jobs.
No, this may be because of the status symbols in the villages. You know, somebody may do a job in the Gulf, but he may not do the same job when he comes back to Kerala. And also, there is a sense of what shall we say, freedom when you come back. You know, that atmosphere. For example, if you have a Western concert in a hall in New York, all the Malayalis who go there will be well dressed and well behaved and absolutely. But in the same hall, when there is a Yeshudas concert, they behave differently. so, so
I think we don't respect to manual labor, sir. Please, manual labor, a person doing in his own place, he feels ashamed of, sir. This is one thing I have learned in my 35 years of career.
That's the problem of dignity of labor.
The dignity of labor is not there. So a Keralite working in Kerala, he feels embarrassed. A Marathi or a Maharashtrian working in Bombay, he feels embarrassed. Manual work, the work which we do by our hands, sir. So it's a national phenomenon, sir. Yes, sir.
But when I was here earlier, when I was a student and then a teacher, I used to hear that civil service officers who come from other states are not very comfortable here. Because people, you go to a party and then, you know, all the Malayalis will be standing together and speaking in Malayalam. So you walk in, they feel compelled to say something to you in English. And then you walk away. Some of them have told me this. And therefore, they have no opportunity to really interact with people. They were very formal with them. And they are not able to penetrate into the culture and the society of Kerala. Did you experience that?
No, sir. Here, one phenomenon which is cutting across all over the country is whether I worked in SPG PM security in Delhi or in the CBI in Bombay.
Well, I met you first in Washington.
Washington, sir, September 2000.
when Mr. Vajpayee was there.
From 20th of September to 28th of September, we were there, sir.
Right.
Received us, and I mean, yes,
you came in the advanced team, right?
Yes, sir, I was in the advanced.
And you didn't come with the Prime Minister.
No, sir, I came in the advanced team, sir.
Right,
Sir,
right.
which is cutting across all over the country is that men tend to get together and talk, and women tend to get together and talk.
Yeah, we say India, Pakistan.
That is a phenomenon. It is all over the country, sir. I mean, so and the other thing also, Malayalis or non-Malayalis, I have not noticed much, sir. But people from the same place or people of the speaking the same language have this phenomena of getting together, sir.
Right. They feel more comfortable. Yeah.
Whether it is Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Bombay, Rajasthan, everywhere I have seen, sir. That is not the thing in Europe, as you have been in many countries, or outside India. That phenomenon is not there. Here, at
least professionally, we behave differently, naturally, because you have the duty to get used to the people. But when did you make your first friendships? Was it in the service or outside?
First friendship, the friends which I made through Jacob Thomas. Sir. People used to come to meet Jacob Thomas. He was a person from this place. So his friends, he kept on introducing his friends to me, and now the situation is that they are only friends to me. And Jacob has disappeared, sir.
But in the society, how was your experience?
Society.
See, people are very much attracted to you because you are an outsider, you have a name, you have a high position.
Yes,
So
sir.
they would certainly want to know you, approach you, etc. And then at the same time, you can see a certain amount of reluctance of the unknown, but some kind of a sense of, one has to keep distance. Have you felt that?
No, sir. What I felt was that people are more expressive over here, sir. People tend to get together. There are fixed the functions are over here. For example, the marriage. These
Yeah.
marriage functions are a big ice breakers. In a marriage function, then you talk together, then you eat together. So the attendance to the marriage function, it really made a lot of friends to me, sir. And secondly, people here like Lions Club, the people are, as I told you, they are very people believe in holding functions, sir. This is I have only in Kerala, sir. Nowhere, like I told you, sir, as an excise commissioner, I have gone to 1,050 schools and colleges. So
Right.
please try to understand. I mean, an excise commissioner, if he may be willing, but the principals of those schools and colleges should also be willing to call me.
Right.
Want to call you. That is a general phenomenon which I say. No collector, no IAS, no IPS officer goes to any school or college, sir, in Rajasthan or UP or so. Let me tell you honestly. I mean, that culture is not there. They don't want to attend functions. Functions as such are very, very less. Like the Lions Club holding any function, this Rotary Club for holding any function. In an obscure place like Punalur, this Lions Club people used to call me ASP and his wife, and I mean, so the need of the people in Kerala for holding functions, calling people for marriages, is something which take us, the people like us, very near to the general public. Otherwise, there is no other platform, sir, to go near to the public, sir. Please tell
No,
me.
but this is true because Kerala is one place where civil servants and police officers really mix with people. I have seen during my travels in India, I have seen that they keep a big distance from the public. Unless the public comes to you for a need, they don't really mix with them or go to these meetings. That is true. But coming back to the profession, what do you think about police in Kerala compared to the rest of India? You must have done some studies. Of course, now we say that we are number one in India. What is the criteria for that?
Police, this calmness and the this law and order situation is just the law and order situations which we see, the violent and the unexpected law and order situations, what we see in UP, Bihar, Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh, wherever, are just not there, sir. As a police officer, if I tell you, you won't even believe that since last 30 years, there is no murder for gain. Murder for gain in Kerala, all our crimes start from murder for gain. If you go to police station, number one crime will be from the seriousness point of view. What is that, sir? To kill a person for taking away taking away his gold or wealth or so. Have you heard it here, sir? You are born and brought up over here. I am here since now 36 years. I have not heard, sir. I mean, it just doesn't happen over here. And this is an in thing in places like Dholpur or Bharatpur in Rajasthan or in the UP. The less we talk, the better it is. I mean, even in Telangana, Tamil Nadu, I mean, so the law and order situation, the typical like the communal riots, the murder for gain, the communities killing each other, the feuds over caste, these aspersions. I mean, we don't see any. I mean, we don't see these kind of things. So practically, now this affects the police both ways. It cuts both ways.
Mm-hmm.
Or the problems are there in a state, so the states gears up to meet themselves. For that, your modernization takes place. New weapons come. Your forces are increased. Much more discipline is brought in the force. Special forces are brought, like evacuation teams are prepared. The hostages polices are called. Now these things are there.
In other words, you have more variety and power and capability. But the crime rate in Kerala is not low, though. You're talking about one particular crime, right?
Crime rate in Kerala, please understand from this point of view, sir, even if there is a theft of even 1,000 rupees, even a theft of a mobile, let us say mobile is now the in thing, sir.
Yeah.
Mobile, suppose somebody's mobile is stolen also. In Kerala, the working of crime is just not there, sir. I mean, if a person wants to get his case registered, he or she will get it registered, sir. If they don't register by e-saying, then if it is a city, they will go to the corporators, they will go to the MLAs or MPs or even to the minister. They will see that the case is registered. In a year, in Kerala, 5 lakhs FIRs are registered, sir. 5 lakhs. Okay. Now, in a place like UP also, not even 1 lakh FIRs are registered, sir. When I was in, sir, there was they just don't register the case. The registration doesn't come to the. It is not a priority in north of all the states.
What do? They try to resolve it by saying something to the culprit or the compromise, or what do they do instead of registering cases?
वो कहते हैं अच्छा सपोज देयर इज ए थेफ्ट वो कहते हैं भाई आपको क्या आपको पैसा चाहिए या यू वांट टू रजिस्टर द केस if you want we will get you as and when we will catch a lot of criminals, then when we will recover the things we will call you also, you can see your things and you can take it away. I mean, they just keep fooling around the people, sir. One simple example I will give, sir. There was, now he is no more, sir. He was a Kerala cadre IPS officer, Mr. Dr. R.P. Sharma. He got married to an IAS officer of Karnataka cadre and he went to Karnataka, and now because of cancer, he died 6 months ago. I remember when he was undergoing training here, his own brother, a judge, was killed, was murdered by criminals in UP, sir. Mm-hmm. We remember that for 4 days, police didn't register an FIR, sir, of a murder of a judge, sir. Believe me when I say. He had to take leave, he had to go by air, and he had to request to the DGP that my brother is a judge, is killed over so, and he was not, then only because of his going over there, a case was registered, sir.
Right.
The kind of situation, it is still prevailing, sir. For small, the theft like up to 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, it is a matter, it is a persona non grata, sir. I mean, they won't register it. They say, bhai, ye to bahut mamuli cheez hai, you just forget about it.
You are lucky that you are alive, is it?
Here, sir, even a 1 gram of ganja is caught by a sub-inspector over here. 1 gram, an FIR is taken. So, here we are registering cases as such, whether it is the stolen properties of 500 rupees or 1,000 rupees or so, and there if it is even for 50 lakhs rupees, even for 50,000 rupees, they won't even do it, sir. I won't name my batchmate have told me, I won't name the name of the chief minister and the name of the state also. When the chief minister say, I don't want crime, and then when I come for a crime meeting, a statewide crime meeting, I should be told that the crime has gone down. Chief minister will say in advance. So the DG will call all the SPs and they say, look, 2 तरह का report बनाओ. Make types of report, one the genuine thing and one that totally कुछ भी नहीं हुआ है, that nothing has taken. So when the chief minister will start the meeting, they say, what is the position of the crime? Then everybody say, sir, yeah, so this time the crime is less than the last year, and very good, I am very happy. The chief minister will go away. And the DG will come and tell these fellows, then now you please bring up, now you please before we let us. I know that the things are very, very bad. So that kind of, now, can you imagine this kind of a situation anywhere in Kerala? So no chief minister, our chief ministers are also, they also know the pulse of the public. They are in the favor of the more registration of the cases. So even if there is a 5 lakhs case FIRs, maybe the highest number of FIRs in the country, sir. Last year, before COVID year, it was 7 lakhs FIRs. 7 lakh FIR means, you imagine, so there are only 365 days. Thousands of FIRs are being registered every year. But
Yes, in fact, one of the chief ministers told me not that there is bigger crime here, but crimes are reported more here. This is true, is it? I see.
otherwise, the India Today and all, they are always coming us that they know they go through this. What kind of crimes are these? And they always say that law and order wise, the Kerala is always, since now many years we are topping that list.
But if you look at your 36 years, the crime is growing. Certainly, number wise, it must be growing. But has it become more complex, the Kerala society, because of the migrants coming here and our people going away to the Gulf, social tensions, families separated? So, this kind of problems, how have you seen?
Sir, I am a little bit more worried about not about the more registration of the crime, sir, but the less conviction rate of the crime, sir. Now, for example, the POXO case. POXO is in now. The POXO is in the news, sir.
Yeah.
The girls are reporting. They are now saying people are girls. Even girls are not reporting the way they should have. The way they should report, sir. I will give a small example, sir. That when the lady who was raped and murdered in Delhi, sir, in December 2012.
Right. The gang rape case. Yeah. Abhaya case.
Abhaya murder. That name was given to not Abhaya, sir. Nirbhaya. Nirbhaya was a name given to her. Her name was different.
Nirbhaya, right.
Nirbhaya. So then the ladies told at that time all over the country that we don't have proper even crime where we should report under. So the government of India made any possible level of crime easy for them. 354 ABCD. 354 IPC ABCD, only one I will quote, that is voyeurism, sir. That you remember that 14-second thing which that word 14 seconds just dropped out of my mouth.
Right, I remember.
Was that the moment a girl feels that her modesty is breached,
yeah,
the crime seems to have been committed, and 3 years conviction without bail, sir.
right.
Now, nowhere in the 200 countries that kind of law is given to the women in the country, sir. But see what has happened, sir. From 2013, it came into the promulgation. From 2013 to 2021, please go on Google and find out how many FIRs have been given, how many complaints by the women have been given under that particular thing, leave alone others. So it is 10 per year, 12 per year, 13 per year, sir. So then, this less registration of the women are still hesitant to go to a police station and report the matter, and they are suffering in silence. That is what I feel. And that is happening that should happen in the 100% literate state in Kerala. That is very, very surprising, sir. I can understand it's happening in Jharkhand or UP or in Rajasthan, where the official literacy level is not more than 50% in villages and all. It is 50% only. I can understand it over there, but I can't understand this happening here, sir. Not reporting what the human crime which I see here. My personal opinion is, sir, how many women are there in Kerala, sir? 1.5 crore women are. The population is women only, sir.
Yeah.
If we say that it's 3.5 crore, minimum 1.5 crore women are here, sir.
Definitely. In fact, women are more than men, aren't they?
There are 1,084 women for 1,000 men. We have been hearing for years together.
Right.
But then what is the net result? Why these women are not complaining, sir? Why they are committing suicide rather than going to the police?
Taking up the court.
Who are harassing her is her husband or the in-laws or so. Hardly anyone, sir. So the reporting by women is why it is less. I don't understand this. That is number one. I mean, as a police officer, I would like to know if someone says, you are educated, you are 100%, you have gone to colleges, you are doing PhD. And you know, sir, the more higher the place, the more higher in the strata, the more they are suffering more in silence.
True, but then, like for example, after Nirbhaya, People came from various NGOs, etc., to Kerala, and particularly education. And vice chancellors, all of them told me before this team came that we have no such problem. There is no sexual harassment, nothing, etc. But when this lady spoke to a group of women, I was horrified. I was the only man sitting there. And the things that they were saying was unbelievable. And when I checked with the vice chancellor, said, no, nothing like that. They must have been excited when they saw somebody investigating. But really, there is no truth. So there's a lack of clarity on this. As you say, people don't complain, and that is what taken as absence of any grievance.
Yes,
and that I think is a crucial issue. And I read your book on drugs.
Yes.
What is the situation now?
Situation increasing. In fact, very surprisingly, the COVID, where everybody is supposed to be bound to their houses or homes or so, then and we are going less to the shops or we are roaming around less. So the situation to that extent should have been
better.
It should have better. It has got worsened, sir. Because now the people are ordering things online, sir.
So this is entertainment at home.
This is entertainment at home.
But is it true of drinking also? Are the people drinking more under COVID?
Drinking is difficult if you are talking about adolescent. This drinking has this problem of smell, sir.
Yeah, right.
I talked to a lot of youngsters here. I said, why are you taking drugs? Sir, before 2014, this prohibition was brought into action. Before that, the liquor was available. You won't believe, sir, the consumption of drugs was far less when the liquor was available. Please try to understand, sir. And when the liquor was prohibited, so the whole lot, they all migrated to the use of drugs, sir. And when the liquor was introduced again, this is more interesting. When the liquor was introduced by the government promised and government have promised to the people, and people. So the government they brought the alcohol back in 2016. Mm-hmm. We went to these people again. Again, we saw that the drug consumption was not coming down. So we used to ask these people, why you are taking this drink? The liquor is available. Why don't you go to liquor? Yes, no, sir. There are three benefits for taking drugs rather than the liquor. Liquor is slightly dicey, sir. I say, what are? Yes, sir. At least to get the liquor, I have to go all the way up to the shop. Number one.
Right.
But this drug I can order online. I need not go anywhere, and the drug comes right away. Because the drugs, medicines, even weapons, everything is now anything you can ask, you can get at your home. Sir.
Right.
Secondly, they say that, sir, the drug doesn't have a problem of smell to the extent what the alcohol has. So we are after consumption, we can drive our vehicle, we can go anywhere. There are no instruments unless you take the blood sample. Whether you have taken the drug, nowhere in the world you can find out, sir. So these are the situation in this, and now because of the tension has increased all the time, staying at the same place, it has increased the tension among all the three segments: children, adolescents, and even the parents also. So adolescents are finding a way out by ordering things and then consuming it. So schools, college, after 1.5 years, as and when it was very worse, it was very bad before this COVID. We realized it by talking to them. 1,000 school. We went to the 1,000 schools. I went to 1,000 school and found out myself from where the things are coming, how they are getting into the schools, how they are getting into their colonies. Every district has its own ways and means and this modus operandi. So once the school at home, things are bad. 135 children have committed suicide from March 2020 till June 2021. Sir.
I see. Mm.
They say there are 55 reasons for committing a suicide, but this is one of the reasons, sir, that this non-availability of the drug to a person who is used to it. This Vepralam, Vepralam Kudaga, our Sanam Kitty Lenkil, our Bahamundaga, പിന്നെ അമ്മ അച്ഛൻ്റെ അടുത്ത് കൂടുതൽ പറയാനും പറ്റുന്നില്ല. So in that duress, they are committing suicide, sir.
Right. Suicide rate has also gone up during the COVID.
Yes, suicide rate 126. I just 135. I gave you the number, sir. Committing suicide, sir, in 1.5 years almost.
Right. How about your jail reform? I believe you are going to work on a book on jail reform. How acute is the problem?
Jail reforms were there. The jail department is also called nowadays correctional services also, sir. So correctional services means then the person who is undergoing sentence, he should be given an opportunity to earn the money by himself. So the more we create the facilities for him in the jail, so the more he earns, sir. Please try, like the petrol pumps we have opened at 4 places, 2 more petrol pumps are coming. You see the difference, sir. Those who are tending petrol there, they are all people who are undergoing prison over here, sir.
Okay.
Not the case in Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, and Madhya Pradesh and Maharashtra. I went over there. They don't believe their own inmates, and they have called the people from outside. And in Telangana, they have called those convicts who have gone out after serving the sentence 2 years or 3 years ago. Those people are being called. I said, why are you? I said, what is the purpose of doing it? We are asking them, and so they earn 300 rupees a day.
Right.
So he earns 10,000 rupees, 12,000 rupees, and he is taking care of his family. So he is undergoing his sentence, that is fine. But at the same time, and in the jail, any number of the professions are going on, sir. Shirt making, ladies wear making, candle making, umbrella making, organic.
Even food is being served.
Food cafeterias are being made. Saloon. So what do you think, sir, that those who are working in saloon, all they are barbers? Believe me, when we searched for a barber the first time we started in Kannur, somehow no barber has committed any crime in Kerala. There is no barber in Kerala jail, sir. Believe me. So that's what to do. How to start it? So then they say, then we asked them, do you want to become this motivator? So those who had nothing to do with the hair cutting, they came forward. Okay, sir, that way we will learn a profession. So those who were non-barbers, they were given the training outside for 3 months, and they are cutting. Now they are better than even the barbers, sir. And if you talk to them, I talk to them. They say, sir, I am just waiting when to go out and open my own shop.
So you learned a profession in the process.
If you give them opportunity, so giving them more opportunity to earn the money was the idea for me, which is happening here always. Nowhere in India is happening. You go, I went to Tihar, I went to Pural jail in Chennai or Tihar or so. There is some work is there, but very, very little and very few. So Tihar is an exception. Tihar, in fact, that they have given that VIP culture kind of thing. That also is very funny. I mean, here, there, the people live. Too much things are being given out there. The people are very less. Only 7,000 people are over there. But if you go to the jails of UP, Rajasthan, and they are overcrowded and less opportunity to earn money. And people are lying for years together without their trial even being started. So things are bad outside, not here, sir. I mean, we could do a lot of
our prison situation is not as bad as it is in other places. That may be one of them.
The government of India sent us to even see the Walden prison in Norway. There is a lot of halla gulla about that Walden prison. So we went over there, Walden prison. Believe me, any Kerala central jail is far better than Walden.
I see.
I have got a report. Walden, they are giving only two professions are given to them. One is the vehicle repairing. We could see some vehicles over there. And second is this crockery, this China crockery, the bone China crockery making also. That's all. So, and I have given them nearly 60 to 70 professions to work upon, sir.
Very good.
I mean, here there is for 6 persons, there is 1 policeman. I mean, rather a jail person to look after. There, 325 prisoners and 325 the jail staff. What is, I mean, so I found it a luxurious hotel over there, sir. I mean, we now having our own that kind of problem, but still our professionally and qualitatively, they are living a better life here. Kerala Jains. I saw it, sir.
Anyway, we are coming to the end of our conversation. At the end of your tenure here in Kerala, what are your thoughts? You are personally satisfied. There is reason for you to be proud of your achievements. But do you think that you have done enough in your capacity to do this within the limitations available and you are happy and contented?
Yes, sir. I am really the yesterday when the parade was being held. So I'm told my wife became very emotional, and even my daughter. I had no thought of feeling bad about it. I'm feeling very relaxed and I'm very happy. The works which were given to me, I tried to do in my best possible manner, sir. My only request to the incoming incumbents who are going to come as a transport commissioner or excise commissioner or jail superintendent, that this spirit, the works which have been started in that spirit should be continued, sir. I mean, if we do not continue, then then only I will feel that whatever we did it. The one good thing happened with me was that I was given a duty, that responsibility in very different sectors. Generally,
Yes, even civilian sectors, no? You are in the electricity board, for example.
electricity board, they always, I mean, some of my colleagues used to consider it as a punishment posting or something. I turned it around, sir. 1 crore rupees fine money in liquid cash I got every day. Mr. Ayatollah Mohammed called me and congratulated that you are earning. Yeah, there is no way we can earn anything out of this electricity board. But your fear of this raids have created much effect in the minds of the people, and now they are not. Fixing their meters. They are giving the money which they had not given, and 1 crore rupees, Ishraj, I am getting every day because of your efforts. He gave me a good service. And
no, that's what I'm saying. So wherever you went, you had reason to be
yes, sir.
feel contented. You've done a lot of work, and you have earned the love and affection of the people. And finally, about music, how do you find time to locate so much of valuable music, whether it is in Malayalam or Hindi or English? How do you do it? I get this every day, at least twice. I wake up with your music and I go to sleep with it. Where do you fit into this? What is the magic of that?
You must be knowing that you are far more learned and read person than me, sir. Henry Ford used to say, sir, that the most busiest person has the time for everything and for everyone, sir.
Right, that's true.
That is a fact. That if I love music, I will somehow find the time for the music. This music thing and all I started when this COVID started, sir.
Oh, is that so? I saw it only at that time.
No, this I am doing from 2018 onwards, but regularly and sending more and more people. Because in COVID, what we see in the newspapers, trolls going on, and so many people. I mean, this society was.
You needed a distraction.
So needed a distraction. So then I started sending these songs on my own. So let the people have at least for 5 minutes. They come out of that. The situation and they
depression. Yeah.
So I also have a teacher also, sir, a joy, a person, arranger. He is my teacher. So as and when I want to go and learn a song, I will find a place for that. Cinema, sir. Practically every second day I see a cinema. Now these people, I am the most. I have told 2-3 times to the chief minister also. Allow me to go to a cinema hall.
Yeah, that's not being allowed.
I see movies in cinema hall only. I never see a film on TV. So every second day, 6:30 to 9:30, I go and see a film in cinema hall.
But the cinema halls open? I thought they were not open.
Only because of the 2-3 months. From June 7th, they were closed. Otherwise, they were open. Even this COVID period also, I was going with my sanitizer and my mask, and I used to see films. So,
you remained active during this throughout this lock-in period also, lockdown period.
I have attended, by God's grace, till now, on every Saturday, Sunday, I have attended office. every day, sir. Even on a Sunday also, I will come and sit. What is, sir, your office is so comfortable. There is a TV is here. The food cafeteria, my food, jail cafeteria is nearby. There is a sofa here where I can take a nap also in the between. There is a person who can give me tea as and when I require.
But you have no fear of infection.
No, sir. If you have seen that, I maintain
You wear a glove, yes.
gloves, then sanitizers, then the glove. Since I'm sitting alone in the room, so I'm not wearing the mask or so. And I got vaccinated in the month of February itself, sir. So I mean, that is all. I try to take a lot of precautions. Yes, sir.
Right. That all of us should be doing that.
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's very good that you are going to stay on in Kerala. You haven't revealed what you will be actually doing,
Yes, sir.
but I'm sure good things will come your way because you deserve all the recognition and all the approbation and approval and love of the people of Kerala. And since you have become one of us,
Yes,
it's
sir.
all the more reason why you should be enjoying your retired life here. But
Yes,
let it be productive, let it be devoted to the people, and bring some sunshine and cheer
Yes, sir.
to Kerala as you have always done. All
Yes,
the
sir.
very best, Rishi. It was a great pleasure talking to you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.